If I were starting fresh as a brand new realtor and I needed leads fast, I would avoid the stereotypical advice that you hear all over the internet. And what I would do instead is something just a little different. But after working with hundreds of realtors on this exact thing, I can definitely say that this strategy is guaranteed to work to bring you leads and financial success that you're actually looking for. I would build a 500-person database in 90 days using these 3 steps. Number 1, I would become an open house machine. Not one open house every once in a while. That is bush league, people. That is child's play. I mean 3 to 4 open houses every single week with no compromise. I don't care what the weather is. I don't care if it's Easter Sunday. I am hosting an open house. I would literally make that my job. And by the way, if I'm brand new, I probably don't have any listings. So where do you get open houses exactly? You go to the top producers in your office and you beg them to let you host their opens. You ask for new to market listings, or you go and ask for recently price improved listings. But your focus is on the mid price points because you're not trying to host the prettiest house in the market. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get traffic. That's what actually matters. That's the actual game. Forget about the luxury price point for a minute just for this strategy. Do what gets people in the door. So here's what my weekly schedule would look like surrounding these opens. Thursday, Twilight Open House. Friday, Twilight Open House. Saturday and Sunday, both midday open houses. That gives me 4 chances every single week to meet buyers, sellers, neighbors, investors, and just curious local people. Here's where most agents mess this up. They think that the open house means unlocking the door and putting a sign in the yard, sitting in the kitchen island and just hoping that somebody shows up. That is not a strategy. And if I were doing this, I would treat every open house like a neighborhood event. I would be knocking on doors before the open. I would be hanging door hangers. I'd hand out flyers. I would invite the neighbors personally. I would be saying something like, hey, we're hosting an open house at 123 Main Street this weekend. A lot of neighbors like to come through just to see what homes are doing in the area. You are welcome to stop by. It's not weird. That's actually useful. And it gives you a reason to talk to people in the neighborhood before they're actually ready to sell. That is the entire point. One of the best examples of this is actually Lissy Bishop's team. Their team has a really useful strategy where they door knock 200 doors in the neighborhood before the open house, and they frame the open house like it's a neighborhood block party. That is the level I'm talking about. It's not passive, that's mega. My target would be pretty simple: 10 new contacts per open. 4 open houses per week. That is 40 new contacts per week. Over 12 weeks, that's 480 contacts. This one strategy alone gets you almost all the way to 500. Now, let me be clear. If somebody walks into an open house and they're already represented by another agent, they're not my lead. I'm not playing games with agency relationships. But if they're unrepresented, local, curious, thinking about buying, thinking about selling, or just trying to understand the market, I want them in my database. I want them to know who I actually am. Number 2, I would become the local guide on social media. Now listen, I've talked about this strategy until I have been blue in the face. I would not become another dancing real estate influencer. The internet does not need one more copy of that nonsense. I would become the person who helps the public understand the local area. That is an actual identity. Now, here's the thing. If I'm already hosting open houses every single week, then I'm already in the neighborhood every single week. So I would turn that into content. Neighborhood reviews. For example, 3 things buyers should know about the specific area. Another example, what a $500,000 house gets you in this zip code? Best coffee shops where locals actually eat. What I like or don't like about the street or the neighborhood. That is useful content. And it does 2 things. First, it helps me learn the market. And second, it gives local people a reason to actually engage with me before they need an agent. And that part is really important. The goal is not views. The goal is conversations. Conversations is what builds the database. So every piece of content needs a simple next step or call to action. For example, comment, guide, or list if you want my favorite local vendors to the area. And while comments are not magic, they create conversations. And that's what this conversation has been 100% about. The database creates future business, and great content creates conversations, and it gives you a reason to become known in the community. Gary Vee said this right from stage at Keller Williams family reunion just this year, 2026. Social media is not going to stay as free as it is right now forever. And here's the crazy thing, I believe it. So if you are new, broke, starting over, just moving to a new market, I would be using organic social media content aggressively while you still can. It's not about becoming famous. It is about becoming known. And number 3, I would build my own referral networking group. When I was a loan officer way back in the day, I did this and it was wildly successful. I would not just go to like a local chamber event and collect business cards. That's like pretending that you're actually doing something. This is not a system. What I would do is I would create my own exclusive local referral group for business owners or solopreneurs who serve the same people that I want to serve. Think about it. Mortgage, insurance, financial planning, estate planning, landscaping, cleaning, the list goes on and on. One person per category, one weekly meeting, one clear referral ask, brief education, but most importantly, real accountability. Hosted at your own real estate office. That's called free, people. When I did this, again, way back in the day, I built a group of about 15 people. We had all different types of professionals in the room. And I remember building this huge database from that, because here's the difference between this and just some random chamber event. It is intentional. It is about building relationships with other professionals who already talk to homeowners. By the way, since we are putting this into a scenario of being a broke ass agent, I would do one more thing while all of this is happening. I would work for top producing agents every chance I could. And I'm not talking about joining their team and becoming a team agent. That is a whole other topic that we will cover at another time. What I am talking about is showing runs, sign installations, lockbox runs, showing coverage, paperwork help, inspection coverage, basically anything ethical and useful that puts me close to the real estate transaction. Because if you're new or you're starting over, you need 2 things. You need experience and you need money. There is no shame in that. That is learning the business and staying close to the deal. That's getting around people who are actually producing. And you get a built-in mentor without them even knowing it. So let's put this whole plan together. If I were building a business from scratch, this is what I would do. 1, I would run 4 mega open houses every single week and treat everyone like a neighborhood event. Number 2, I would become the local guide on social media and turn neighborhoods, businesses, open houses into content that creates conversations. And number 3, I would build my own referral networking group with local professionals who serve the same people that I want to serve. And along the way, I would do as much useful work as possible for top producers who could get me the experience and cash that I need to survive long enough in this business to be successful. By the way, none of that requires Zillow, none of it requires a budget, and none of it requires you to become famous. But it does require you to actually do the work. Real estate is still a relationship-based business, so stop asking where you can get your next lead and start asking how to meet 500 new people. Because once you build the database, leads stop feeling like luck. They become the byproduct of the asset that you have built.